Hey everybody, welcome to the Art of Relationship Show. I'm your host, as always, your favorite love guru, Greg, formerly or currently known as Detroit's Love Guru as well. Going to be talking about intimacy, okay? And how many people automatically look at, intimacy, I know what that is. It's about sex. Wow, it is about that, but it's a lot more. So pay attention. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get into intimacy and not only finding it, but also keeping it, maintaining it for a lifetime, okay? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, I'm your host Greg, as always, fully licensed professional counselor, relationship and sex specialist, have been for over 2 decades now. Oh my God, long time. Started when I was 5 years old. No, I wish I was that young. But anyways, talking about intimacy, and a lot of people jump right to about sex, right? Oh man, intimacy, great. You know, men, women, there are a lot of women that want more sex too, right? But it's a lot more than that, and we have to look at, number one, defining intimacy. What is intimacy to you? My definition, I'm going to tell people, well, before I get into that, I want to remind you that you can join the live chat down below on, wherever platform you're listening to, and you can also call me anonymously, 844-814-LOVE. That's 844-814-LOVE or 5683, okay? So getting into intimacy, we're going to define what intimacy is, and it is individual, okay? It's individualistic based on the couple. That's what I mean, the individual couple, and also, let's face it, the individuals within a couple. So intimacy, I usually define intimacy that, you have each other's backs. You can talk about anything, and that is true intimacy, okay? Not only that you can talk about anything, that you accept each other's flaws, faults, that you're able to hear each other out and still be okay. You're not walking on those eggshells, okay? And that goes around sex, emotional issues, what you don't like about that partner, and if issues arise, that you're able to handle them without going sideways and going off the rip, okay? Another aspect about intimacy, see, it can be a long-winded paragraph, right, or two. My other take on intimacy aspects is that you have the confidence in each other that you're going to be able to work through problems, okay? That you get each other. You show compassion. You show empathy. That creates deep intimacy on many, many levels. How many people do you think you can have intimacy, deep intimacy, right? And I'm going to challenge you listening right now to the show, if you have, true intimacy in your relationship or maybe in your past relationship, and what to look for in your future relationship for those future, I should say current single people out there, not future, well, I guess future single people out there as well. But, what does intimacy mean to you? Number one, I'm going to take it to this level to look at it is about you first and foremost, okay? It takes you to be willing to be open and vulnerable and share who you are, not the surface level, but the deep level aspects, okay? Are you able to share your fantasies? Are you able to share your dreams, your goals, your wishes? But also, let's face it, are you also able to share your insecurities, your fears, maybe what you don't like about yourself? But that doesn't mean you cannot improve and work on yourself, that you can do that without worrying about the outside world, judging you, bashing you, and let's face it, more or less your partner as well. How many people are afraid to share their true self, their full identity with their partner? And you've been married, you've been together for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, because you're worried about that person judging you. You're worried about that person looking at you sideways. Oh my God, judging that you're weak, you have these flaws, right? So true intimacy on the deep level is being able to show your true self, that you accept who you are. That doesn't mean you are okay with the bad things. That doesn't mean you're a rotten person, you're mean, you're abusive. Oh, I accept who I am, I'm abusive. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about the willingness to look in the mirror and own your flaws, okay? That you're able to look at in the mirror, if you will, and say, you know what? I need to be able to go after this, and I need to, you know what? Change this. I need to improve. I need to be able to go after the certain situation to be able to, you know what? Improve where I want to be. Plain and simple, right? And a lot of people have a hard time. So true intimacy is about looking inward, looking at yourself, owning your flaws, but willing to work on those. Another thing about intimacy is about the confidence and courage. I talk about, you know, on other episodes and, you know, throughout my post during the week as well, that you're able to look at, you know what, that you can own your mistakes, that you can look in the mirror. I put my hand in front of my face, right? Look in the mirror and to be able to say, you know what, I screwed up. Man, I apologize. And there's a lot of people that, you know what, I get phone calls, right? Greg, you know what, we need help. Our marriage, our relationships in the toilet, we need help. And my partner doesn't realize, you know what, will not take ownership. They don't realize or even believe they do anything wrong in a relationship. I run into this a lot. So that's what I mean. It comes down to the situation to where, you know what, that you're able to look at those flaws. You're able to be able to look at, you know what, I am human. It takes courage and it takes confidence to have true intimacy on all levels, okay? So are you able to look at yourself and look at what's going on with this, okay? And let me give you an example. What about sexual intimacy, right? Everybody assumes it's the physical aspect. It's about being able to show your full self with that person, okay? And you're not worried about judgment. You're not worried about getting bashed or insecure, or if something does go awry, you're able to handle it. You're able to say, you know what, let me work on that. Let me, you know, hey, man, I like that too. I'm going to try that too. Or, you know what, that didn't work out for me. And you're not going through it just to make that other person feel better. You're not going through stuff. And this goes with, you know, verbally, emotionally, physically, sexually aspect, that you're not just going through the motions and doing something, even though it's against who you are. It creates pain, discomfort, that type of aspect. You're able to say, hey, no, I don't like that, without fear of being shamed, being, you know, blamed, being bashed or ridiculed or judged by your partner. So deep intimacy might be a lot more than you realize. Yeah, we have intimacy, Greg. We can talk about parenting the kids, whatever. But true intimacy, the test of true intimacy is not only being able to open up and be vulnerable with your partner, it's able to also hear the truth and perspectives of your partner, especially those that sort of cut deep in your heart, right here, right? They're the ones that are able to go after and look at those avenues to where, you know what, I can hear what my partner has to say. Everybody says, right? Oh man, I don't want to be lied to. I hate being lied to. You know, I will, you know, I'll walk away if I be lied to. Well, do you set your partner up to lie to you? Can you actually hear the truth from your partner? And this is part of the deep intimacy avenues that I'm talking about, and about keeping, how can I say this? About being able to keep those levels. Hey, Nari, I appreciate you. Peace. Thanks for showing up. And as always with Nari, everybody else, you can join the live chat down below. Throw your questions out there. I'd love to, you know, help as many people out there as I can. So, you know, the depth of intimacy level might be a lot deeper than what you realize when I call, you know, about the true intimacy aspects. A lot of people might be surface level and think it's really deep, but I'm talking about the depth of being able to share your heart, your soul, your insecurities, but also hearing your partner's perspective on what they don't like or if you annoyed them, right? If someone says, I offer like a true and false, it's not a test, it's sort of a, I don't know, assessment type thing. It's not a test competition. And what if your partner, what our sex life is fulfilling and your partner put false? What would your reaction be, right? If your partner put, I feel loved and respected, false. Would you flip your lid? Would you explode? Would you, get defensive? And how many people look at defensive as a bad thing? And I don't want people to get, so far defensive and being able to hear the truth. But I also look at defensiveness is the ability to grow. It's ability to explore and look at what is going on emotionally. And it is an, opportunity. I look at, are you able to, come back from after you get defensive and look at, I'm sorry. I was, I didn't like hearing that. It hit home with me. It's hard for me to hear stuff I don't like because maybe I don't like myself. Maybe, I have a hard time looking, at certain things based on my insecurities or my flaws. And that doesn't mean it's, right or wrong or whatever. Are you able to turn the defensiveness into an opportunity to growth? And that's where true intimacy builds and flourishes within a relationship that can last a lifetime. Talking about, I use a term with my clients, and once in a while you might have heard me on a show where I talk about differentiation. That means about being able to separate yourself from your person. And how many people get enmeshed and they have a hard time separating their own emotions, their own dreams, their own wishes from their partner because they don't want to hurt their partner's feelings. They don't want to piss them off. Might be a good example type of thing, right? So you end up keeping your mouth shut. You keep sort of your true essence of who you are, right? Blocked. You hide who you really are. Remember I said at the beginning, true intimacy is to be able to, be comfortable in your own skin with your flaws and not hide who you are based on, getting judged, criticized, ripped apart, that you can come and be genuine and authentic and say, hey, this is me with my flaws and faults and all that stuff. And that doesn't mean you're giving yourself permission to be an asshole. Not at all. It's about going after and being able to look at areas that you can improve on, but also you're not going to allow your partner, whatever, to bash you, criticize you, rip you apart, and abuse you. Not at all, okay? So you look at a deep intimacy level on those aspects. It starts within yourself, and are you able to address your insecurities, what you're afraid to hear from your partner, instead of an opportunity to grow and learn about what is going on? Hey, what can I do to be a better lover, instead of, oh, I can't believe you said that. You know what? I'm never going to give you any sex anymore. How many people have been there, right? Instead of blowing up because it hurts, it's not fun. We don't like hearing things about ourselves, but I want to make it easier for you and use it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and go from there. Now, that doesn't mean you have to sell yourself out, okay? That doesn't mean, oh, my partner wants to have an open relationship or be swinger or get a poly relationship. You have a right to say, no, that's not for me. But a lot of people, when they try to hold on to themselves and their own identity, they're afraid to lose love. They're afraid to get their heart broken. Everybody is. Let's be honest, me, everybody, right? They're afraid to, end the relationship. So you start selling yourself out. And then that's when the resentment starts popping in, right? You start not liking yourself, that you sort of gave up the essence of who you are for somebody else. Do you understand? When that happens, tell me, where's your level of intimacy within yourself and within your relationship? Maybe you have that intimacy level within yourself because you know what you did. It doesn't feel good. You can admit it to yourself, but can you admit it to your partner about what it feels like that you're doing something that really is against who you are? So when we talk about, the depth of intimacy level, you know what? It's scary. It's not easy. I'm honest. I tell my clients in my office on a daily basis, I'm a realist, okay? I make it sound easy, but I need to be careful because a lot of stuff, it's not easy. I don't mean to make it sound easy. I want it to be easy, but I want you to be able to look at, you know what, where do we go from this point on? And you know what, I don't want to sell myself out. This is who I am, and do you accept me for who I am? And that doesn't mean you're a jerk or you're mean, and you know what, I'm going to be accepted for who I am. True intimacy is being able to look at yourself and improve where you want to be, how you want to be in life and as a partner. And this is where it creates a lot of issues because the resentment builds, let's face it, or your partner, maybe you've done this before too, you pretend to be or paint a picture of who you are. And when you get deeper in a relationship, who you really are starts coming out, and your partner is ticked at you because they feel like they were betrayed. They were tricked. I deal with this, all honesty, on a daily basis in my office where one person, you know what, Greg, he or she presented themselves as this way. And once we lived together or got married, it just went bam, it changed, you know, like a light switch getting flipped, you know. And I'm not about people being fraudulent, let's face it, lying, being deceitful. That is not about being true, you know, truly intimate within your relationship. You know what? That is being selfish. It's being just, you know what? You're betraying your person. And that is not so, let's face it, that's not a good thing. And it's not easy to come back and build, you know, trust and respect. And that's part of the true intimacy level, knowing that what it's going to do to your partner as well. That is the depth of the intimacy level, okay? So, you know, we're going to look at its ability to self-reflect, its ability to open up who you really are emotionally, what you love to do, what you don't like to do. And that goes with activities, that goes with interests, hobbies, that type of stuff. And definitely in regarding sex, right? Are you able to open up sexually and go after desire? There's still a lot of people out there, they're afraid to share what their desires are because it might be viewed as a slut or, you know, a man whore or whatever you want to call it, right? And instead of being open, hey, this is who I am, this is my sexual being, I'm not ashamed of it, and you know what? Now, maybe we're not compatible, but you have to look at what are your fears when it comes to opening up and being vulnerable and exploring who you are, and that includes sexually, right? When you're talking about deep intimacy level, I'm looking at a mind, body, heart, and soul. Can you be fully intimate, you know, on a deep intimate level with your partner without being intimate in one area? Emotionally, soulfully, mentally, sexually? I don't think so, right? You can be maybe somewhat fully intimate on an emotional level, but let's face it, sex comes into emotions as well, right? So my aspect, true essence of having a deep, intimate connection with your partner cuts across the mind, body, heart, and soul. And if you're not able to, you know, sort of open up and explore your vulnerability sexually, that's going to block the emotional aspects because, number one, your partner's not going to fully know you. Maybe you won't fully know yourself. And this, again, does not mean that you have, you know, you don't have a right to say, I don't like this. That's not for me. No. But are you able to say it instead of performing a sexual act that you really don't want to? And then after it, right? I hear this from a lot of people, right? And then after it, well, I just did it to please him, Greg. I just did it to please her. I'm not really, it's not my thing, but I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to lose him. Now, right? Your depth of intimacy within yourself is sort of lost. You betrayed yourself, okay? I don't ever want that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen to anybody, and I get it. I understand it. I'm not blaming or bashing. I'm trying to help you and to be able to go after those elements, okay? So on a, what does, you know, describe to yourself. Even think about it. Write it down. What does true intimacy on a deep level mean to you when it comes to sharing your emotions, right? And sharing yourself sexually, and also your partner sharing themselves emotionally, and sexually with you. What does that mean? Are you able to, talk about it, or are you going to go after it if your partner brings up something and they're like, ew, gross, ew, ew. And right there, does that kill the intimacy level, or can you sort of expand on that? Oh, really? You want that? You like that? You know what? Why? I think it's gross. Oh, okay. Why do you think it's gross? And you can further expand and talk about it. That doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Or true intimacy is not just blocking your partner, right? How many people have a monologue with their partner and not a dialogue, right? It's just, you know what? Nope. Yes, no, maybe. And that's it. There's no expansion. True intimate levels, especially emotionally, right? And verbalizing on a true intimate level is being able to have a dialogue, the back and forth. It's not just closed end questions. It's not simple yes, no. Can you further explain and expand on those about why you feel a certain way? Why do you believe a certain way? You know what? What makes you feel like I was being disrespectful? Oh, you just were. Okay. Well, how? What was I doing? That wasn't my intent. Can you tell me what you felt? Why you felt like I was being disrespectful? And does that mean just because I mentioned something, hey, you know what? Man, I felt, I don't agree with you. Well, you don't, you said that and that was so disrespectful. I'm what? Because I disagreed with you. I wasn't bashing you. That's what I mean about true intimacy starts with the ability to self-reflect. There's a lot of people that have a hard time if someone disagrees with them, especially their partner, all of a sudden, you know what? They don't feel loved. They don't feel desired. They feel maybe not intelligent, not worthy. They don't feel like they deserve love. And all those insecurities come out, and that will block the true depth of intimacy about where most couples want to go. And I'm not talking, the depth of intimacy is you can joke around and be playful. That's part of intimacy, right? That it doesn't always have to be serious. It doesn't always have to be, pragmatic. Hell no. You can joke around and be playful and you know each other's vibes, but you also can say, I'm not in the mood, and your partner can respect that. That is the depth of intimacy that needs to be triggered, and that's what I go after with couples, right? So let's go after, some other aspects, okay? It's another aspect when I talked about defensiveness towards the beginning about how many people, get defensive, and you can use that as an opportunity to explore and expand, right? Not a monologue and not shut down expansion. It's about growing. So to tolerate anxiety is about taking more responsibility and less reactivity, right? It's you being able to take on more responsibility within yourself for your actions, what you believe, what you think, and how you react, and having less reactivity, okay? Remember I said defensiveness. It happens. It's an opportunity to growth, but are you able to work on not reacting off rip, that you're not explosive all the time? Like I said, you are taking more responsibility for how you manage yourself, and you are working on having less reactivity, especially to issues that you don't like or you don't want to hear. Sounds easy. It's not easy, especially when our self-worth is low and it's in the toilet, okay? So another aspect is about having clear boundaries within yourself. This goes for your partner too, okay? So having clear boundaries about what you stand for, what you don't stand for, what you want. But not only with clear boundaries, are you able to clarify why they are? I love challenging people on their beliefs and values. Not to be a jerk, I fully respect people's beliefs and values. But what I mean by challenging them, I want to know, why do you believe that? Does it work for you? Or have you thought about this. And this could go with, boundaries or beliefs about, sex, about emotional aspects, about way you live your life, maybe even religion, that type of aspect. I want to challenge people's beliefs to see if it's truly them, or are their boundaries put in place by how they were raised, or, trying to, be accepted by family, by friends, those type of aspects instead of who they really are. Okay. Another thing is about increasing compassion and empathy. Deep intimacy on all levels cannot be in place if you do not share compassion and empathy towards your partner. Okay. Plain and simple. So those are going to be elements about compassion and empathy. How many people, we'll bring up a sex aspect, right? Your partner sort of goes a little early, right? Or maybe has a hard time with an erection. Or we're going to go with the other aspect about maybe he has, delayed ejaculation, right? Doesn't come. And then that creates insecurities, right? Oh, you're not hard. You must not, right? I must not turn him on. He must not find me attractive, doesn't really love me. And it might not have anything to do with you. But can you grow and be compassionate and understanding, and to be able to work as a team and get at the roots, the insecurities, maybe performance anxieties, fear of being disappointing. And that goes with not only sex, but with other aspects as well, okay? That doesn't mean you live your life according to somebody else. It's about looking at also what you can tolerate, what you won't tolerate, but you can do so with compassion and empathy. Absolutely. Are you able to be empathetic? Are you able to use compassion in your relationship? And it's even more difficult, let's face it, when you're angry, when you're ticked off at each other, right? That is a great time to start promoting it, especially when there's a disagreement and argument starts taking off. Can you say, hey, you know what? I love you. I care about you. I don't want to argue. Just let me have a minute, okay? I really want to hear you, but I don't want to argue. So it's the, ability to show compassion and empathy. And like I said, being less reactive, and you are taking more responsibility for yourself, how you feel, and your reactions, okay? So we have to go back, and I know I covered a lot of stuff. So define what is intimacy for you. Not only intimacy, surface level stuff, I want you to decide what the depth of intimacy is to you. Like you might have a friend you can share everything with, right? No judgment, no fear. Why can't you do that with your partner, right? Are you with the wrong partner? Or maybe your partner needs to sort of learn and grow and evolve to learn to be able to hear the truth, to be able to make it safe for you to talk about anything. Or are you giving your partner, right? Do you have to give them permission to make you feel safe all the time? Think about that, right? Is that more about you, or is it more about your partner? We don't want to get bashed. Like I said, we can be honest. We can, self-reflect. We can expand and express who we are. That's part of deep intimacy. That doesn't mean our partner's going to like it, but we can also say, hey, you know what? I know it was hard for you to hear. However, you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to yell and scream and call me names, right? I don't want a relationship like that. I want a relationship where we can heal and grow. And that's a depth of intimacy, on the emotional level, big time. And also, when it comes into sex, maybe you're withholding that you're not who you really want to be sexually. And that will create, let's face it, not only will it, become depressive relationship, it will also start creeping in, if not running into, the emotional and the mental levels of the relationship as well, because that's where that resentment I talked about earlier is going to build, and it's going to kick in, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to pull yourself out of it and look at, hey, is this relationship viable for me? I want it to be. I can grow with this, and this is terrific, but I want us to grow together. And some people don't have the courage or the strength or the confidence to be able to be self-reflective and to be able to go on that deep, intimate level of where you want, instead of looking at it's all your fault, instead of looking at, hey, you know what am I doing to cause problems in a relationship? That's where that deep intimacy level starts, and it can continue and maintain throughout your lifetime, people. And you can have a happier, more connected relationship, a lot less stress, not walking on eggshells. That's when you know you have that deep intimacy level in place, okay? Make sure you check me out all over the place. My website, theartofrelationships.org. You can check me out all over social media, Instagram, Twitter, on YouTube, of course, on Facebook, under Love Guru Greg. I really, from my heart, would appreciate you following me, liking me, any reviews you can give me. You can find the audio version under the podcast, under Google Podcasts, iTunes, podcasts all over the place, Spotify. If you're in the car listening, that would be a great way to listen, so you're not looking at the video and causing an accident. I don't want that, okay? Thank you so much for the support, people. Again, have a great night. You know, peace. Let's hope there's peace in Ukraine very, very soon as well, okay? Again, peace and love to everybody out there. Take care.